281st episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the third week of March 2018. March Madness! This episode is titled Punta Dreamin. CloudFocus Weekly is brought to you by The Permissioner by Arkus. Mass assign and revoke Salesforce permission sets. It truly is permission sets made easy. Available for free on the App Exchange, or go to thepermissioner.com. That is thepermissioner.com. I'm your host, with my wonderful Espanol, y mi otro hosto. Nope, not going to do it. I'm your host, Jason Howard, and joining me, co-host 282 times in a row, rounding the corner to 300 slowly. This is like the beginning of the marathon. Just going to take a couple miles, going to work out the kinks. Justin Elstein. Justin. Bien dia. Oh, I messed it up. How are you?
You're trying really hard.
Yeah, it's been a couple days.
You were trying very hard while we were at Punta Dreamin. And it was coming back to you slowly, as we were saying. It was like, it's all coming back to me.
20-something years, and all of a sudden. So we have a lot to talk about.
Do
we? Got some blogs.
Do we?
Yeah, we got some blogs.
Stuff?
We got
Things?
some Salesforce purchasing news. And then we're going to talk about Punta Dreamin, because we did some dreaming in our world tour of trying to get to every dreamin at some point. Although I don't know if that's a goal or not. We'll talk about our visit, our dreams, and all the things that happened in between. So why don't we start off? You've actually made a pick, and I haven't. Okay, well, great. Why don't we start off with a little bloggity vlog catch-up. First on the list, I can tell you're not paying attention.
I'm totally paying attention.
Wait.
I wrote the whole thing.
Let's check the Just-O-Meter.
I wrote this agenda.
What time is it?
2:05.
You should be getting more like 3 is better. 3 is better for you. First up, Peter White on the Arkus blog writes about raise your hands for volunteers in Salesforce.
Yeah.
Really? That's what you're going to say?
Yeah. Raising the roof, volunteering.
I kind of have that little, the Slack or emoji of the 2 hands, like the prayer hands up. That's what I kind of think of.
Do you like my attire, by the way, that I'm wearing for this podcast?
You're in your pajamas.
I'm in my Salesforce MVP pajamas.
Should I go throw mine on? Just
MV pajamas.
Oh, that's terrible. That really is truly terrible. I do apologize.
Bird's here.
Bird's here.
And Bird's the third host.
Yeah, Bird is working on her Cuttlebone, which if you don't own a parakeet,
Working very hard.
Piece of whatever, some sort of...
It's a white, scratchy substance.
And they just go to town on it. And she just chews right through it all the time. She loves it.
It's for their beak.
Yeah.
Do you ever trim Bird's beak?
No.
That's why.
Yeah, but you're supposed to do their hand. You could give them things to stand on as well that cut them. But Bird's working away on that. And we also got the dryer going here in the pseudo studio. So lots of activities.
Studio 2B.
So really, this post, I mean, this is I wouldn't say it's a missive, but it's a long one. Really talking about volunteers and how to use the volunteers for Salesforce application. I guess on V4 now.
Yeah, it's part of MPSP. It ships Nonprofit Success Pack. When you're a nonprofit and you spin up your free trial and you get to decide what kind of trial do I want, and you get the one with the Nonprofit Success Pack already installed, you're also getting volunteers for Salesforce, which is really cool. It is built out now for Lightning Edition, or Lightning Experience, I should say, which is a great thing because I'm slowly, actually kind of not slowly, I'm really there. I'm getting there with Lightning. So if it's not built for Lightning, I'm not pleased at this point. And yeah, I mean, volunteers for Salesforce.
Columbus user and the Permissioner?
Columbus user works just fine in Lightning, as does the Permissioner. But yeah, you're right. They're not purposely built. They're not components. They're not built for Lightning. But yeah, I've used volunteers for Salesforce before for some implementations. All starts out at a campaign level, kind of like the event that you're volunteering for. And sometimes organizations have a hard time wrapping their head around that fact that
A campaign
is kind of the top level thing that you're volunteering at. But it makes sense. And then it goes down into the idea of having different jobs at the event that people can volunteer to do, and then different whatever the job might be, right. And then different shifts, which are times that people might actually volunteer to attend, and then there's a whole other piece behind the scenes of like volunteer hours and all that. It has a skills matching engine, which is pretty cool, where you can look for specific skills that volunteers have. Plus, like, if they might tell you, I'm available Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the mornings. So you need somebody with Salesforce skills on Wednesday morning. You can go in on a screen and perform a search and find some volunteers. It's a pretty neat tool. A lot of analytics around it as well. We have some organizations that have taken it to the next level and built out some custom stuff to do volunteer groups. So that's for like organizations like Arkus, where if all of us wanted to go volunteer at a food pantry or something like that, Volunteers for Salesforce is kind of more based on an individual.
Yep.
But you can do some stuff to make it work for organization level volunteerism as well.
Very cool.
It is. Cool. It's a nice package. It was built. I think it's David Habib built it.
Yep.
Way back when. Kind of gave it to the community and then was hired by Salesforce, and now he's, I think, still in charge of it, but it's part of MPSP.
Nice. Well, this you should check it out on blog.arkusinc.com. Again, blog post is Raise Your Hands for Volunteers in Salesforce. He kind of goes to the whole thing, links to a lot of things, links to where to install it from, maybe the Trailhead modules. Always cool that there's a Trailhead module on something. So
that's how you know it's real.
That's how you know it's real. That's true.
If it has a Trailhead module, it's real. Until it's not.
Until it doesn't. All right, so let's move on. Next up, a blog post by me.
Oh. All right.
So this is called GTD Weekly Review Tune-Up for the new year. Coming from... I don't know how this came about. I think I thought about it last year, and I wrote it down, captured it, of course. We like to take once in a while, go off on a limb and go away from our Salesforce blogging category and move into our GTD, or getting things done, the productivity methodology. We have done many podcasts and blogs about this topic. I think we have another set coming up this summer. So get in there. One of the things I think we're going to do, I'm just putting out this in the universe, I think we're going to do a Q&A version of our summer series where people send in questions in advance and we answer them. So start thinking about all your GTD questions. Yeah, pretty good, right? So exciting. So as someone who's done, over 500 or so weekly reviews, I think I did the math the other day. It's like 12 years times 52 equals blah. I can do that quickly. I guess I could. Oh, no, can't do that. Yep, 12 times 52 is 624. So
wow, roughly
624 weekly reviews. I have done one every single week. I said, I think one of the things that people get a little caught up in their systems and they don't reevaluate them. They don't think about their weekly review. They kind of do it, and it gets a little bit of a rut. And
right.
So I was, this is sort of like, hey, look at your weekly review, and it doesn't matter how you do it. Maybe you have a piece of paper written down. Maybe you have it written in Evernote. Maybe you follow literally David Allen's. He has a printout that says do this. Maybe you do that. Mine is custom. I think yours is custom as well, meaning we took the basic concepts and we then built out our own that we then is a repeating thing. We see it every week. But one of the thoughts here is, take some time to go back to it. Don't just don't do it every single time. Week review should be evolving. There's things in your life that are always evolving. You have new inputs, you have new responsibilities, you have new areas of focus. There might be things you put into weekly review that you really shouldn't be in your weekly review, right? There are things that, I have a couple. One of them is check open cases. I check the open cases inside of Salesforce because for a while there, cases were kind of slipping through the cracks.
They are slipping through the cracks.
And still are.
I see them slipping through the cracks.
So I put it in my weekly review, but really, that's not weekly review. That's its own thing. You could just build its own little project, make it repeat. Also, does it have to be weekly? Does it have to be during my weekly review? So I found that some people make their weekly review get too big, and then it's hard to do, right? If I've got 1,700 things I'm supposed to do, so... Oh, Justin, you raised your hand? Do you think this is a class?
Well, you were just going to keep going, and I wanted to stay on that. Well, I wanted to stay on that point because you and I meet every so often to just talk about GTD, and I had shown you my weekly review, and you're like, why you do that in your weekly review? And it was just something, I was like, because I just want to look at it every week. And you were like, but why during the weekly review? You gave me the 5 whys, and it was... why during the weekly review? Why is that not? It's just its own thing. If you want to do it weekly, fine. Do it whenever you want. But it's not really a weekly review thing necessarily. It's more of just, you want to go look at it's a document that I want to go look at once a week. And you were like, just create a thing to do that once a week. It doesn't have to be a weekly review thing because...
Or decide whether it's really a week. I think that's...
Well, that was the other part of it.
I could have plant inside of my weekly review.
Sure.
I could say, okay, every week I want to water my plants, but that's not really a weekly thing. And right, and you do. I've seen the partner shall not be named. He'll never listen to this. It doesn't matter. At one point, he showed it to me, and I was like, this is insane. You have, and I could tell because he was taking 3 to 4 hours to do a weekly review. I was like, there's just too much in there. You're reviewing every open lead, every open opportunity, it's everything in here is just, it's really, it's great stuff that you want to do, but why are you putting that in your week review? The week review isn't really about doing, and that's a lot to do. And yes, there's some reviewing of those things, so it's, I should review my week review. And he made some changes, actually helped him a lot, because it was taking hours and hours and hours, because he just built up all these things that had to be reviewed every week. Well, no, they don't. It could be reviewed every Monday, or it could be reviewed every 10 days or 12 days or whatever. So anyway, the blog post is really about going back, thinking about it. Is there stuff that should or should not be done? Is there stuff that should or should not be in there, or add to it? It will help. So that was it. You can go read it on blog.arkusinc.com. There's plenty of GTD content on there, and obviously more to come. All right, we can move off that stuff. Blogs. Darn blogs. Let's talk about purchasing.
Okay.
What happened? What is this?
Salesforce bought something.
Okay. Thanks.
No, they bought CloudCraze.
What is CloudCraze?
So CloudCraze is an e-commerce solution, and I think that they consider themselves a B2B solution, whereas Demandware, which we now know as Commerce Cloud, was more of a B2C solution. So they're rounding out their e-commerce, and it all ties together with really marketing, I think, clouds, and now we have an answer for B2B commerce.
B2B commerce.
And I've gotten a demo of CloudCraze actually, or spoken to them about their solution, and I was pretty impressed with what they have to offer. And I don't know how much they paid for this. I'm sure it's reported somewhere, but it seems like this is a smart acquisition for Salesforce. It just rounds out what they have to offer, because on the marketing side they have the B2B solution, they have the B2C solution, and that really ties right into commerce. And they had the Commerce Cloud, but I don't know. I feel like Cloud Craze is even a better solution than Demandware was when they bought Demandware. So
Right.
this will be very interesting to see how this plays, how it plays with marketing solutions, how it plays with communities.
Yeah.
Will be interesting to see, and I think it's an interesting shift for Salesforce to move in this direction of, while it's always been a sales and relationship tool, now they're really like fulfilling sales through their product lines. So it'll be interesting to see the day when we buy Salesforce through Cloud Craze.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 4 years, but whatever.
Right, if it doesn't. I mean, again, for those of you who new to Salesforce or new to the world of Salesforce acquiring things, there's this pattern, and it happens every time.
Sometimes it's people too.
Yeah, sometimes they buy stuff, and you're like, "Oh, that's going to be such a cool thing," and then nothing ever happens.
Just people.
What was the one they bought? The collaboration meeting software one, like
Dim.
Yeah.
Well, that could be SOS, maybe. Don't know.
Yeah, you see these things come. Also, I think the Salesforce is always kind of following trends. So they followed the badging and whatever trend. They follow this trend. They follow a lot of trends.
Ripple, Work.com, your favorite.
They follow
that was Ripple, right?
And then sometimes the trends go away, and so they have to kind of reverse. But they're big enough to not make too much of a mistake.
Do.com.
That
was probably just for front end developer expertise.
I know, but at the end of the day, I mean, yes, tasks and Lightning look much better, but they're like, it looks like it.
Yeah, but you gotta just forget that it was a task manager and just say these were front end developers, front end engineering team
who probably helped them with Lightning.
Yeah, probably.
Cool. Well, Cloud Craze. I'm crazy about Cloud Craze. All right, last up on our agenda before I have to figure out what I'm going to pick for my pick of the week.
Punta Dreamin.
So you and we took CloudFocus on the road. Of course, brought these mics all the way down there as well, but did not actually end up doing a podcast from Uruguay. We were going to, had every intention, and I think I was targeting Sunday morning, but we got up and we had no coffee in the apartment we were staying in, and it became like a mission.
A thing.
A multi-hour thing to go get coffee.
Yeah.
And it was our last day, so we're like, whatever. So we kind of wandered off and got coffee.
Right.
Which was, again, not like going to Dunkin' Donuts around the corner. It was like we walked for maybe a mile down the street, went to one place, it was closed. But before that, we decided, as part of our general planning for Arkus throughout the year, we're like, hey, what Dreamins do we want to go to? What things we want to do? Last year we went to Midwest Dreamin. I went to Destination Success. I went to Trailhead DX. And I wanted to start to compare these events. Like, what are they like? What's different about them? Why would I go? Why would I not go? Why would Arkus go? Why would someone from Arkus go? Midwest Dreamin was definitely bigger. And so this year we had a chance to do some business down in Uruguay, and Punta Dreamin was there. We're like, hey, why don't we just combine these two puppies and go down there and do some work and then do some dreaming. We actually signed up to speak. We were not selected, which was just fine because we were going anyway. But then a week later, Aldo Fernandez, who runs Punta Dreamin, sends us literally, I think, almost on our way down, or maybe like 5 days before we're on our way down.
Like the day before.
Like, hey, some guys can't make it from Canada. Can you speak? And so you whipped up a really nice presentation, and we spoke at Punta Dreamin. I spoke very little.
You spoke so little. It was the least I've ever seen you speak.
So true. It's part of my new Zen Buddhist, just sit there and not say
Zen,
things.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It felt like a very one-person show, and I would have not actually stood up and just been one of the people in the audience.
But you were listed as a
But
speaker.
I was listed as a speaker, so that's going to be odd because I'd be sitting there in the
and
front.
I had you on the deck as a
I know,
speaker.
so I was like,
I could have just left you off the deck.
It's true. If you left me on the deck,
Then you could have just sat there.
Whatever.
But whatevs.
I might have been here.
Whatevs.
So tell me a little about give me
Yeah.
your thought of what Punta Dreamin is. I mean,
Well, you can all read about this next week on the blog where I recap it.
oh, that's true.
But I'll
we won't talk
recap it
about that.
quick.
And since this podcast will probably not, another one won't come out for like 6 months.
Right.
Like,
so you have that
we
to
won't
look
come
forward
back to that.
to.
We'll skip
So
that one.
it was an interesting structure. So the only other events that I have to compare it to are Salesforce events, like the big ones like Dreamforce, and then the smaller regional ones like World Tours, which I've been to many of in different cities. And I've only been to Midwest Dreamin, so that's the only like community-led event that I have to compare.
And Midwest Dream, just for those who
Is
don't
big,
know,
and
is
it was the
biggest.
first one, and it was the big. It's the biggest one.
Dreamin',
Right?
and this might be one of the smallest.
Perhaps we don't know what the other like Surfforce looks like, or Portlandia, or whatever that's called, Forcelandia.
Forcelandia.
And some of the Tahoe Dreamin'. But I walked away from this and I was like, that was fantastic.
Wow.
This is the way that these events should be. I know that we love telling stories about customers and their success. But what we really love as people who've already bought Salesforce is to learn more about Salesforce. So when you strip away all the Salesforce salesy, marketing-y stuff and you just talk about the product, that's what I like. And that's what this was. It was literally packed full of sessions, almost too many. So many sessions, and there were only 2 rooms, and there were 2 sessions going on at any given moment. And they were very interesting. I learned quite a bit, which I always use as a nice barometer for the event that I'm attending. Did I learn something today? Did I meet somebody that I otherwise would not have met and made a nice connection with? Yeah, all of those things happened. And I really had, I left with a greater respect for Lightning. On this show, we've put Lightning down quite a bit, but I walked away with a much greater respect for Lightning, components, design system, the thought put behind it, the reality of where it is today versus where it's going in the future, which is great. And there was a closing keynote by, I'm going to mention Don Robbins, fellow MVP, who I called it a TED Talk. I thought it was that level of talking. It was a little long for a TED Talk, 45 minutes. I think they try and keep TED Talks to under 20, right?
I think there's one along with that, but do you know when he's releasing the videos?
I will link. Yeah, I'll go back to the blog post, which will be up next week, and I will embed the videos back into the posts so that people can see them, and I'll link to them so that you can see them. But everyone should watch the closing keynote that Don Robbins did at Punta Dreamin about success. It was incredible. I don't really want to talk about it or give anything away because I'd rather you watch the video. It's worth the 45 minutes. It's so inspiring.
I'm hoping the video is not. That it could be bad video, but I'm hoping you can hear him
and see the slides. You have to be able to see the slides and hear him.
And that's
if you don't see him, that's actually okay. I'd rather you see the slides because he takes what seems like a very simple concept, success, explains why it's not super simple and it's actually really complicated, and then makes it simple again.
And it's definitely Salesforce related. It has a Salesforce spin to it, which is nice.
He said the word Ohana.
I know, and you didn't puke. So
I didn't even vomit.
I thought that was great. It was the end. So again, very different than the other Dreamin' I guess I've been to. This was a one-day event, just one day. The other thing that was a little bit different was it was on Saturday. Most of these
That's
are on
right.
the weekdays, and they're
It was
meant
on
for
a
people.
Saturday.
And it was very, very developer focused. So I'm going to say 65% developer focused. And then the other thing was it was in 2 languages.
That's right.
So you and I, who our Spanish is not very no bueno, we would go to we'd go to a session. They'd start up and it'd be like in Spanish. It'd be like, this is a great session. Like someone did a session on blockchain and Salesforce, and I was like, this is great. I can't wait to see this. Oh, it's all in Spanish.
That's right.
I can't. I mean, I got about 30% if I pay very hard attention. But the opening is in Spanish, so
yeah, the entire opening keynote
it's all in Spanish.
Was all in Spanish, and it was an hour long, and we were
tough.
sitting there, and it was like, oh, it's hard not to be on my phone right now.
Right, it's very hard to be paying attention. But there was again a couple great sessions, very small. It only had 2 rooms, so like if you think of like 2 sessions to go to, is A and B. And little coffee station out the middle. There was some cocktail hours. It was really great. Thank you all though for coordinating. That must take a lot of work. It was in Punta Dreamin, which is beautiful,
gorgeous.
If you have a chance to go, you should. But stay for a long time because that flight is brutal. And it was really nice. It was a great. I now want to see the others. Like I'm interested. Because to see what the other ones look like. And I think the thing that I thought was, and I have some feedback for Aldo, of course, because of me, but the thing that I thought was good was he kept it as a community thing. This is what I've said to the other people of all the Dreamins is don't just repeat what Salesforce does. Try to put your own community spin on it. Try to do things that they wouldn't do. Try to have topics and conversations that they wouldn't do. Of course, you're going to sprinkle in the stuff that they would do. And hey, there was like 4 or 5 Salesforce employees, 2 of which spoke and were married, actually. One's the Lightning design system, and one's the head of product manager for Lightning, which is like, that's actually marriage made in heaven, because one can design it and one can build it. And they were great talking about, this is a concept, and we got stuff out of it that was great. We learned more about Lightning, not just the way it looks, but the way it's really architected, and also the things that we're really missing. I mean, hugely missing, and that we've noticed, and now you're like, oh, I get it. There was a little PP on Apex, which was fun to watch you just crunkle your face every time he would kind of go Apex, bleh, and you'd go,
well,
I love Apex.
His point was fair. His point was definitely fair, which was when you're in Lightning and you have multiple components on a page, or even one component on a page, on a record page, and you change something in the component, it doesn't, if it's a custom one, it doesn't like change anything else on the page. You have to refresh the entire page because they don't talk to each other when you're using Apex to back end the component. But with Lightning Data Services, now you're actually able to handle changing something in one place and having it refresh the underlying record that it's sitting on.
And I know he's doing, so by the way, why don't we just talk about who it was, because...
It was Greg Ruiz.
And
he's going to be doing it at Trailhead DX.
And I thought he did a very interesting way. Usually when people show code on they did a lot of this at Trailhead DX last year, that, they'll kind of show a little bit of code, maybe, but they don't really mess with it. He was deep in there. He was saving it. He was doing a live demo, but he did it by taking things away. He'd be like, here's all this code that does this.
Right.
Now let me comment it out. Now see that it doesn't work. Now let me show you this little 2 lines of code here that does the same thing.
Yeah.
And
he took an entire Apex controller and
replaced it
with a JavaScript controller, which was way smaller.
and
JavaScript, not
JavaScript.
Apex.
Yeah, so again, we learned a ton. I'd probably go to that session again.
we are currently building things in our own org using Lightning Data Services to see if we can do something without Apex.
Oh,
Let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes. Well, I think I turned you in the middle of this. I'm like, why are we not using it wedding day
We're
services?
gonna test it on ourselves.
You're like, because I don't like it. Anyway, so great thing. Again, if you have not looked up or thought about the community events, I think they're all listed in the Success Community, under events, under community events. They have a list of them. They're all over the world. They should be in your neighborhood. If they're not, think about starting your own. Salesforce will. They will, if you can get it to a certain size and with a certain kind of brand, they'll help you. They'll send people. I don't know how much they help in money at this point, but I know that they definitely. they sent 4 or 5 employees.
Yeah,
which
there
they
was
pay to go. Clearly.
At least 4.
4.
Yeah,
4, and big hitters like people who are going to be speaking at DX.
That's right.
So it's. And I know with the one in London, I know a lot of people go to. And
well, they have more of a. This is an emerging market for Salesforce.
Right.
It's not like there's just people that work there. Just head on over. Right. No, they had to it was an investment. Get people from San Francisco down to Uruguay, which is quite the flight.
Right. But worth it if you stay for an extra day or two.
It was definitely worth it.
All right. Speaking of things that are worth it. Why don't we talk about make some picks?
Yeah, let's do it. So speaking of traveling internationally.
I made mine the same theme, but go ahead. Go on.
So Mobile Passport, which is pretty slick if you're, I don't know if this works for anybody outside of America, but sorry.
US-based.
I think it is.
Yes.
So basically, you can take your passport and put it into a mobile app. And if anyone's ever come into a busy international airport after traveling internationally and you have to stand in those lines, Bird's done it.
Yep,
Bird's from Brazil.
She is, actually.
She is. So you have to stand in those lines with your piece of paper passport, and it's like, I just need to scan this through this thing, print out a piece of paper, walk up, and then wait online to see an agent. You skip the whole line. It's like global reentry, and then the next line is for people with mobile pass, and you basically just have your passport. You answer all the questions inside the app within 4 hours of your arrival. So basically when you land and you're sitting there on the tarmac, you answer all the questions. You walk through, you show the person the receipt, they scan a little QR code, and boom, you're off. We got into the airport and flew through. 5 minutes later, we're out.
We were one of the first 2 people through customs, through the end, and we weren't in first class, so we got all those people ahead of us, and we passed everybody, got right through. We're in a taxi, bam. It was, I've come back to LaGuardia and had to wait much, much longer on a national flight, so that was great. That made that process used to be terrible, simple. Made it pretty easy. So Mobile Pass, definitely set it up in advance. You can also put in, it has Face ID now, which is great, so it locks it down.
That was really good.
And what I do too is you can put in, so I have my whole family's passports in there.
I should put
the little lady's
passport in there.
Because then you can click both of you and go through. Right. Also, it's just a good reference.
You still do need your paper passport, please.
Yes.
So
I wouldn't
bring your paper. No, you still need it,
yes.
irrespective. You need it.
You shouldn't
travel
anywhere without a passport.
You can't get back in without it, so you probably can't even leave without it. So you still need that, but this helps you get through that whole checking back into the country process.
Yeah, it was much, much, much easier. Again, another reason to put your passports in there is it's also kind of a documentation around your passports, the passport numbers. You need that when you fly out of the country.
It's a bit of a backup. Numbers. If you were to lose the piece of paper, it would be easy for you to go to the consulate or whatever with your phone and be like, here, this is me. Yep. Please help.
Great. That's Mobile Pass. Free on the iTunes.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a version for Android.
Probably. Don't care.
And that's when all those people stopped listening.
That's right.
So I'm going to pick something that I've never used, but I've read a ton about, but I'm about to start to use. So I have a trip out of the country that I need to learn Italian for. So I guess there's one place I'm going. I was trying to be coy, be like, I'm going to some place I need to learn Italian. Oh yeah, there's not many places on the planet you need to go learn Italian. And one of my goals is to kind of, I don't know Italian. So Spanish, I took Spanish in college. And I think I took French in like 3rd grade. But I don't know Italian. I'd like to have a little bit more Italian, a little bit more
Prego.
Basic and prego. And I got to do it with the accent and the whole thing, at least enough to go to the bathroom and get a bottle of wine. And so I did some research and found Duolingo. It's really highly popular. It's gamification. It's a daily thing. You can set your, 3 to 5 to 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. And it does all these fun things and scores you and badges and shares and all the stuff that kind of gamification. And you can learn languages on it. You can listen to things. So it's not just get on, the old school was you buy those tapes, like learn Italian in 15 tapes. And as you flew over to the country, you plugged in the tapes. Mi nombre está, like whatever. So now this is more interactive and you play with it. So I have not used it though. It is free to start. Guaranteed as soon as I get in there, it's going to be like, buy something. Like you need to
You're
earn.
definitely buying.
You need gems or points or
for sure.
Passes or language packs or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
But it is very, very
They're going to
highly
get
rated.
you on the games because you're going to finish the first one. You'll be like, more. Then you're going to have to buy another one.
You only can do 5 minutes a day.
Right, exactly.
So anyway, Duolingo, I think it's multi-platform. I think there's even a version online. But cool way, I will let you know in September how much Italian I learned.
Let us know in Italian.
Prego.
Buonasera.
That's it. That's all I know. All right. Well, that wraps up this week's CloudFocus Weekly. Next week, I don't know. Let's see. Next week, maybe.
CloudFocus whenever.
CloudFocus whenever. So you can follow Justin at Just Edelstein on the Twitter. You can follow me at Jason M. Atwood on the Twitter. You can follow Arkus at Arkus Inc. on the Twitter. Soon, foreshadowing safe harbor statement, forward-looking statements, we might even have an Insta. We might go to Insta.
Maybe.
Yeah, soon.
Maybe.
It actually exists.
Maybe.
I was just looking at it.
Woo! I'm excited. Justin's excited.
For all you Insta
Anyone else
people,
is excited?
It's got to make
let
me
us
be
know.
into Instagram, which is going to kill me. But Facebook.com/Arkus Inc. Success Community, Power of Us Group Hubs. We have groups in there. Join. Get in there. You can see when we post stuff. It's great. We're on the LinkedIn, Google Plus, and please, if you listen to us in one of these places, iTunes, Stitcher, Google, TuneIn, whatever, one of those millions of places, if you could review wherever that is, that'd be great. We really appreciate it. Until next week, month, year, whenever, it's Justin and Jason saying, enjoy those cloudy days.